if you had any part in her death, then you are not afraid. And you understand very little. So understand this. I am the Doctor. I'm coming to find you. And I will never, ever stop. Oh, hang on. Nick Payne's review of Heaven Sent has just come out. I'll just watch this first, and then I'm going to come and find you. Okay? Cool. You might want to watch it too. Okay, here we go. Cue titles. Hello, ladies and gentlemen, Nick here, and welcome to my review of Doctor Who Series 9, Episode 11, Heaven Sent, the penultimate episode of Doctor Who Series 9, and this is definitely the best episode. This is by far the best episode. I did love the Lake two-parter, but this is by far the best episode. The plot of this episode sees the 12th Doctor teleported to this mysterious castle in the middle of the sea, and he is being stalked by this creature known as the Veil, which has come out of his nightmares, being an old woman who had died and then was wrapped in sheets, but because it was so hot, there were flies around, and so this sort of causes the Doctor the young Doctor to have nightmares. I believe that's what it was said in the episode. So this nightmare of the Doctor's is now stalking him and trying to kill him for some reason. I guess that was the nightmare the Doctor had. So the Doctor has to try and find out why he's there, where he is in the first place, how to survive the Veil, and also how to escape, as well as also trying to get over his grief of Clara having died in the previous episode. And that's basically the plot of Heaven Sent. So what do I think? Well, as I already mentioned, it's the best episode of the series. It's fantastic. This episode is widely considered one of the best episodes made of the new series, and there's a bloody good reason for that. It is fantastic. First of all, Stephen Moffat has finally gotten back to peak writing with this episode. I don't know what it was over the last couple of years, but besides a few great stories here and there, such as Day of the Doctor, Name of the Doctor, Bell to St. John, and his side of the story for Time Heist, but he seems to have not been doing so well since mid-series 6 for the most part. Finally, we're back to peak Moffat with this story. It's honestly the best episode he's written since Day of the Doctor, and one of his best ever. So finally, after ton of mediocrity with the occasional good or fantastic story, we're back to peak Moffat. It's about time too. And on top of that, we got Rachel Talali returning as the director of this episode. She previously directed Series 8's final 2 episodes, Dark Water and Death in Heaven, and she did a really good job with that. And once again, she does a fantastic job here. This might even be her best episode on a director's point of view and on a visual point of view. She does a total of 7 episodes for the show, and this is her 3rd. So she'll do 1 more for this series and 3 for the next series, including the Christmas special. But yeah, I think this is her best on a visual level. It's just absolutely brilliant, and she does a fantastic job. And it must have been so difficult with the final couple minutes with... I'm going to spoil it a bit early. When we get the montage of the Doctor teleporting in and doing the whole thing several times until he finally succeeds in escaping. That must have been so difficult to film and edit. All those stuff happening so much more often. I mean, the rest of the story doesn't seem too difficult to film or edit, so much apart from maybe the Mind Palace stuff. But when they got to that montage, they just made a already fantastic looking episode even more fantastic on a visual scale. They just handled this episode so well. This was Oh, this was so great. And the cherry on top was Peter Capaldi in his best performance as the Doctor. Just absolutely stunning. He's wonderful. He carries the entire episode on his own for the most part, and he's just magnificent. Seriously, if this was a film, Peter Capaldi should be nominated for Best Actor. No, he should win Best Actor, and Rachel Talalay Best Director, and Stephen Moffat could be nominated for Best Writer. I also have to applaud the visual execution. It looks absolutely stunning. As I already mentioned earlier with the direction, the visuals look stunning. Although it looks like a simple, easy filming style, in which case that might have been a bit more easier for the team when they were making the episode, because it is quite a difficult episode just having Peter Capaldi and this one other character. These two characters doing stuff throughout the episode, and a few other stuff that could be seen as a little bit tricky. So it must have been a bit easier with them doing a more simple film style, but it still works extremely effectively. It looks stunning, and as I mentioned, the visual effects look beautiful, especially when we have the castle looking. It looks really great, and the Doctor flying through the middle of the castle, going down into the sea at the bottom, and all those skulls and the effects. It looks brilliant. Also, the makeup on Peter Capaldi's face after he gets attacked by the Veil is really great, and also the lighting inside the TARDIS when just before when he gets into the water, and also when he's being attacked by the Veil, with the TARDIS dimming down its lights before coming back up again. So the Doctor's unconscious for a bit, and then it regains conscious, and then when he dies after being attacked by the Veil and bringing his past self here to redo it again. Then it shuts down. I also love the use of the TARDIS as a mind palace, akin to Sherlock, when Sherlock has a mind palace, and this is very much akin to that. And I like how that idea is transgressed, I think that's the word, into Doctor Who. It's passed over, and it works really well, really effectively, and also helps with the great scenes with the Doctor getting over grieving Clara, with the scenes of her in the TARDIS writing on the questions on the chalkboard. And also, I also like the bit where when Clara directly talks to him, the memory of Clara talks to the Doctor, and I thought that was really well. I thought that was really good, and I think the whole Mind Palace stuff is great, especially when the Doctor's almost about to lose. He's prepared to give up, and Clara tells him not to. That was really well handled, and I like how it's all serving as a metaphor for grieving, and such a great allegory for all that, and as well as also being the trapped in your own prison type of thing, being stalked by this creature who wants to kill you. This is all working really well with the symbolism and the allegories. I also like how the Veil only stops and freezes time in the castle moves when the Doctor has to confess something, has to make a sort of confession, not just say the truth, but actually confess. This does lead to one criticism I do have. This is more of an issue with what happens in the next episode rather than this one, but the whole stuff with the hybrid, because then these two last episodes are dealing a lot with that. The hybrid is a big player in the Doctor's confession. The Doctor claims that he didn't run away from Gallifrey because he was bored, he ran away because he was scared, and it turns out he was scared of what the hybrid might be, and the whole prophecy and its his part in it, and that it's half Dalek, half Time Lord, or at least later at the very end he reveals nothing's half Dalek, it's part Time Lord or something. So yeah, the whole stuff, the hybrid and running away from Gallifrey because he was scared, it does change a few issues with the canon. I suppose the fact that he's run away from Gallifrey because he was scared doesn't hurt too much, but the hybrid stuff is going to... the whole stuff with the hybrid does kind of change what we know. Now, it's okay to change what we know once in a while, but I think the issue is more what the hybrid turns out to be rather than the whole stuff about it. But we'll get on to that in the next episode. So, yeah, I suppose on paper, these all sound like a good idea, but in execution, maybe not so much. And the same could be said for the Timeless Child stuff in Series 12, but we'll get to that in Series 12. So hold your comments about that until then. No, seriously, hold them! I won't tell you again. I'm watching you very closely. Seriously, I watch my comments closely. The only other nitpick I have is that when the Doctor gets to the wall made out of this material that's about 400 times stronger than diamond, or something stronger than diamond by quite a bit, and then over time he's able to punch through it. So I think Mr. TARDIS mentioned this in his reaction. If you're able to punch through it, even if it's over time, just make it diamond if it's easy enough to punch through over the course of about 4 billion years or something. So it would have made sense if it was just diamond, perhaps. And also at the very end, the Doctor does kind of sort of reveal what the hybrid is, I guess, or at least is teasing the audience of what the hybrid is, with saying the hybrid is me, either implying himself or me from Girl Who Died, Woman Who Lived, and Faced a Raven, formerly known as a Shielder. But he said it right in front of his confession dial on Gallifrey just after he's won. I suppose it's because he has won. He's defeated the Veil instead of accepting defeat and saying explaining the truth about the hybrid so he can escape. Instead of that, he lets the Veil kill him, and then he has to do the whole stuff all over again until he manages to get through the wall. But then he flat out confesses. I guess it's because he has won instead of accepting defeat, but because he has won, he can say it on his own terms. Or at the very least, he's giving an implication of what it is. These are only minor flaws. They don't really affect the problem of the story as a whole. Although the issues with the hybrid are going to play into the issues of the next episode. So, Heaven Sent, let's wrap this one up. This is a masterpiece of an episode. Apart from the odd nitpick, this episode is a masterpiece. On a visual and directorial scale, it is absolutely masterful. Peter Capaldi is at his absolute best. The visuals are stunning. The writing is peak Moffat. For the first time in a long time, especially in this era, it's peak Moffat, and my gosh, he exceeds himself. Spectacular, and I love the whole how stuff kind of ties in with each other. Oh yeah, how did that spade in the corridor earlier on get there? Did the Doctor leave it there in a deleted scene after using it in the garden? I guess. Which would explain why it was there in the it arrived when he found it the first time. But yeah, I like how this story kind of interconnects a lot of stuff that ties in with what happens towards the end. It's just really great and works really well done. My favourite bit of that is the Doctor getting out of his wet clothes and putting on some dry clothes, and then putting the wet clothes by the fire in the same position where the dry clothes have been. Little details like that lovingly tie into the revelation of the episode at the end, and it just works so well. And the final scene at the end also works really well, apart from the fact that it's tying in with the next episode. But on its own, it's a great cliffhanger and a great reveal where the Doctor has turned up, and it turns out that the confession dial was sent to, drum roll please, Gallifrey. Of course, it was the Time Lords behind all of this. But why? We'll have to find out till next time to find out. But it's probably got something to do with the hybrid. So overall, Heaven Sent, masterpiece episode. I don't really have much more to say other than this episode easily gets a 10 out of 10. Yep, this is a masterpiece in television making. Heck, if it was longer, it might even be a movie. It was so brilliant, and they did such a great job with doing this one main protagonist throughout the majority of the story, with the few bits with Clara, of course, as well as the one main antagonist stalking them throughout the story, plus the little boy at the very end who doesn't get credited for some reason. But Yeah, this is a fantastic story. Even without the context of what came before and after, on its own, it's still really fantastic. Minus the stuff with the hybrid, which does tie in with the series arc and with the next episode, as does the cliffhanger. But on its own, it is a fantastic episode. My goodness, this was so good. Everyone just put their all into this episode. And it works so well. We saw this evidence with Before the Lake and Under the Flood, but it seems that Stephen Moffat took notes and just wrote an absolutely fantastic episode. This is his best episode since The Day of the Doctor. This is Rachel Talali's best episode as a director, and Peter Capaldi's best episode as playing the Doctor. Wow, this was so good. I'm really excited for next time now. I'm so excited. I'm going to watch it right now. I'm going to watch the next episode right now. I'm so pumped for it because it looks so exciting. I'm going to watch it right now. No, really, I actually am going to go and watch it right now before recording the review it. After I do watch the episode, I'm going to record a tiny little segment for this review that will serve as a tease for next time, and then we'll get on to the Hellbent review. Okay, I'm so excited. Let's go and watch it. Let's go and watch it. Let's go and watch it right now. Okay, so I've just watched Hellbent, and thank you for watching my review of Doctor Who Heaven Sent. Next time, Hellbent. See you guys then. Goodbye. Don't forget to click below to subscribe to the Nicholas Payne YouTube channel. Excuse me. So, yeah. She previously directed the last finale's final 2 episodes. That must have been so difficult to film and edit. Quite a lot of this must have been quite difficult to film and edit, but maybe not so much. But it seems that when they went to that montage, oh crap, shitty fucking nose. Oh, fucking itchy nose. I'm trying to do a review here, people. I'm gonna have this problem with Hell sitting on the bed. Sorry. The visual. There is some really. Although it looks like a simple execute, and as I mentioned, the visual effects look masterful. So yeah, you know what? I'm okay with the idea, and the same could be said for the Timeless Child stuff in Series 12. So. At least he's giving, at least he's saying something. Excuse me. For the first time in a long vision. But yeah, this is But on its own, that's a great cliffhanger. And it was the Time Lords behind all of this Of course it was the Time Lords behind this. Should have known. And this is Rachel Talali's best episode on a directorial scale. Yeah, actually, no, it's her best episode. And this is Rachel Talali's best episode and Peter Capaldi's best. So I'll see you guys after. So when I have watched the episode, I'll give a kind. So I'll say goodbye. Okay. Okay, I've just watched it, and my react. Okay, so I've just watched Hellbent. Okay, here we go. Cue the credits.